towards the middle of August, and the garden's winding down a little bit, but we're still getting really good harvest. It's pretty hot today. I need to go out and pick some beans. So I've only got a couple garden boxes here. I've got 6 4x8s on this side of the garden, and every year I try and maximize the space and the amount that I get out of it. I've got a lot of beans to pick today, and I'm gonna have to get all these beans ready today, probably snap them so my wife and I can can them with some of these purple pole beans. These will lose their color when we can them, as opposed to something like these red noodle beans. These will keep some of their color. They almost turn kind of between a burgundy and a purple color when they're cooked. You can cut these beans to be the exact length for what you need in your jar, and you can really cram them in there. I've got a lot of beans that I let go one day too long, and when they get a little fatter like this, the pods are a little tougher. We tend to like to get them like this, where they're still thin, and like this is a good example of one that is good for dinner, because you can still eat the pod and the strings aren't too bad on them. So I'm gonna go ahead and get ready here and start picking some beans. I got a couple tomatoes to pick today, and we'll see where the day goes. So I'm gonna leave you guys up here where you can kind of see the cathedral of beans, and I'm gonna go ahead and get at it. I should have been out here last night picking some beans. It's taken me way longer to get these ready for canning, but at least I know that we're gonna have a good batch or so. In case you're wondering, my garden is on a small city lot, which is one of the reasons I went with the raised beds. You know, I've got very limited space. The ground here is very hard and compacted, so I had issues with runoff when I did a in-ground garden. So doing the raised boxes gives me a little bit better control. I can cover them up easier when I have frost. Keep dogs out. Back when I had a dog, she loved to jump into the raised beds, and caused quite the issue for me. Now the worst thing I have is some neighborhood raccoons will hop in the garden, something like that. Raised beds are nice, you know. There's not just one way to garden, so don't let anybody tell you that. You know, you got raised beds, you can do in-ground, you can do hydroponics, you know, whatever helps you grow what you like eating. So rather than making you guys watch me pick beans for an hour straight, I'm gonna speed up the footage and just slow it down anytime I think of something neat to say. In case you're new to gardening, just because it's getting later in the season doesn't mean it's too late for you to plant something. There's other things that grow well this time of year, so if you want to get into gardening, there's still things you can grow. I should have been out here picking this stuff earlier in the day when it was nice and cool, but I got a little distracted editing some videos, and so far I've really enjoyed the whole process of recording and editing. You know, I'm still new at it. I'd appreciate any feedback anybody can give me, because, you know, it is a new hobby for me here, and just doing it for fun, but still want to help. Somebody does want to learn something about gardening, if I can help them, I want to. So I got more beans to pick, so I'll shut up now and get back to it. I had to do this trellis over again. I would have made it a little bit shorter, so maybe it's right down about here for me. So I would say probably, yeah, right about here. I mean, I might drag my head against some beans or something like that as I'm picking, but I might just have to figure out a better way to pick some of these, just for, you know, I don't want to develop neck strain. It's doing really good, you know, for an experiment this year, and I think next spring, if I do decide to cover it, you know, I'll do a better job of covering the sides of the trellis so that the cold wind and air won't let stuff come in and freeze anything like I had this year. I had some big windstorms that came in, and they lifted up the sides over here where these bumblebee tomatoes are, and the frost just got in here and killed my tomatoes. The previous year I had it covered with this PVC plastic frame that's kind of going around the sides. That year I had, you know, great results with it, but I didn't have the right shape. It was a flat roof and got lots of rain in the spring, and it would just fill up with water and kind of go down in and collapse. But this, I didn't have any problems with that. It was, like I said, it was just the wind. I just got to get that figured out. And I'm thinking later on, either this year or early spring, I'm going to actually run some irrigation lines against the cattle panels and run hoses down so that I can water the plants with a little bit more automation. I'll still do my rainwater a couple times a week, but you know, I figure I can get more consistent watering if I do some irrigation. And I won't combine the irrigation with the rainwater. I'll do them as two separate systems. I'll hand water with the rainwater. That way I'm not contaminating my water for the house. So, but got sidetracked again. I got to pick up more beans, so get back to it. I don't know if I pronounced the name of this pole bean right. It's, I believe it's called blauhiddle. We prefer them as kind of a flat bean, but later on in the season, we'll let some of them get, you know, nice big beans on the inside. I don't know why I grew so many this year. We still have several whole cases of beans that we canned last year. With the price of food lately, doesn't hurt to have extra beans. I think we're going to try dilly beans with these and see how that goes. I got a little overzealous here, and I accidentally broke the stem on this pole bean, and you can see here's what the baby pole beans will look like right after the flower's fertilized. But this one won't do anything because obviously it's gone now. So my first year doing this garden here with the raised beds, I built this frame onto the beds, and I put these little eyelets in here. I ran strains all the way down to the plant, and I used clips, and you know, high winds came in or something like that, snapped the strain, the plant could come down and it would get damaged. So I don't really like that idea, but I kind of wish I would have put a cattle panel maybe in the inside and just use that instead. I think the cattle panels are worth the investment. They're not too terribly expensive. I know it's all relative to how much you want to spend in the garden, but the way I see it is if I put strains in here, I'm taking those out yearly. If I put a cattle panel in there, I can keep it for, you know, maybe 20 years or so. Who knows? You know, the steel is much heavier duty than, you know, obviously any kind of strain or rope I'm going to put in here. I don't like the netting because the birds can get caught into it. First year I tried doing netting, I had a couple of little birds that would fly in and they tried to fly through the netting, and they just get caught, and I'd have to carefully grab the bird and cut the netting around them and free the bird. So I like these better. The birds enjoy them in the spring. They'll actually sit on the top of them and chirp all happily. Yet again, I've got distracted and need to get back to picking the beans. This whole process of picking the beans might have been a little easier if I hadn't got so busy and I was able to train them all spring. But it is what it is, you know. The garden's never going to be perfect. There's always room for improvement somewhere. And every year you're going to learn more, and hopefully it becomes a good hobby for you that eventually saves you money. There's a lot more varieties of plants that you can grow yourself that you just are not going to find in the store. Maybe they don't ship well or last long on the shelves, but are, you know, just as or more delicious than what you find. And there's lots of cool heirlooms that you can grow, and you can find them all over the place online, or if you have a heirloom seed store near you, you can go visit them and pick something up. Playing a lot of hide and seek today with the beans. Well, I'm about halfway done, and here's what our beans look like today so far. Probably about a pound or two already. So I got a lot more picking to do. Oh no, just had an accident with my basket of beans. Nice big bean. Planning on making a couple changes to the garden next year. I don't plan on growing nearly as many tomato plants. I want to try and maybe get down to 2 plants. Try and do that mainly for disease prevention. Chance for the blight to kind of die off and let me grow some different things. I got plenty of tomatoes canned, or I should say my wife has canned plenty of tomatoes that will probably cover us over the next year or two. So maybe just more of those paste tomatoes, but I'll put them in a spot that I haven't done tomatoes recently. Maybe right here I'll do them, just to lower my chances of having the blight come back. Some of the rainfall we got just made it really hard for the plants to dry off. And those spores just like to come up all the way down from the soil and climb all the way up. So you'll notice the blight will start at the bottom of the tomato plant, and the leaves will start spotting as they go up and dying. I find picking beans is very relaxing. Gives you time to collect your thoughts. What nice thing about the pole beans is you're not squatted down, and if you have knee problems, you're standing up as you do it instead of having to squat down and pick them. Probably have to empty this basket before I try and pick any tomatoes. Pick any of the beans like this, where there's kind of a binding point in the middle. I don't think these ones are. Yeah, they taste fine, but I don't think they're going to produce as much. So I'd like to pick them so before they get too big, so the bean's going to put all their energy into the nicer looking beans. You know, something like this. But they taste the same. So if you do have one, don't worry. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just a little pinched off. You know, like this one right here. You will get a couple. It's just there's not really a bean developing there in the middle. I do like to leave a couple of the beans on the plant through the whole season until the whole pod is all dried up and brown, and then I will save those for next year, and those will be what I plant. Instead of buying a pack of seeds every year, you know, if you save your seeds, and they're good seeds, you know, you can plant them year after year, and you can even work on your own variety. You know, you can cross 2 different varieties of beans, see what you get. You know, you might find out you develop a really good variety after a couple of years. Share it with your friends and family, and that's one of the fun things about the hobby, and enjoy the fruits of your labor, so to speak. I'm gonna go ahead and pick the ones now on the other side of the trellis. I know it's a bit noisy, but here's the beans we got so far. I still got another side of a panel to get to. I'm gonna get some noodle beans picked now. These I like to use a pair of snips with, and just get right up to the top. A little later in the season, so I'm getting a couple shorter ones, but a majority of them are still, you know, over a foot long, almost 18 inches on a couple of them here. Well, I think we're good on beans for the day. Next I'm going to empty this basket out, and then I got some tomatoes to pick. Gotta get a couple tomatoes here. Not happy with this blight, but it is what it is. Rather than picking this entire cluster, since they're not all ripe at the same time, I'm just gonna pick the ripe ones now and leave the rest for later. A little rough when I pick this one. I'm gonna go ahead and eat it. Pretty good. We'll grab some from the other side. It'd be good in some salads. That's how we've been eating most of them. We have put a couple on some sauces with the base tomatoes. Made enchilada sauces here, hot sauce, salsa, spaghetti sauce. Got a bunch of different stuff with tomatoes. And if you're intimidated about doing your own canning, don't worry about it. I mean, it's your first time, you know, it's not that expensive to get started. You get a water bath canner. You don't have to go with a pressure canner right away. And there are some kits out there you can buy, and you know, they're pre-done mixes. You just need, you know, say your 6 pounds of tomatoes, whatever the recipe calls for, and you follow the instructions, and you can up your own batch. Have to eat another tomato. Beautiful cluster here. Oh, had 2 little strays that were not ripe. More. So far today, here's our tomato harvest. Okay, let's pick the bigger tomatoes. I want to get these before I water again. Plants are looking a little dehydrated, so I want to make sure I get them all before I water so I don't have any splitting issues. I think that is all the tomatoes. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and pick some cayenne peppers here now. It's more of the cayenne peppers on the other side of the garden here. Habaneros I want to get picked. Next one, we got a green one. I love the transition of the colors on the habaneros. The cherry bomb. So this harvest was on August 20th, and it's not bad. Most of that basket's full of beans. The tomato harvest isn't too bad either. Okay, so I'm done picking the vegetables for today. But before I'm done, what I want to do is show you that there are some kits out there if you want to, you know, can your own pasta sauce or salsa or even chili base. You can buy these pre-done packets that just tell you exactly what you need, and they include the steps, you know, and what other ingredients you might need, such as vinegar or salt or sugar or things like that. Those all require 6 pounds of tomatoes. So what I'll do is I'll measure out something like this where I have 6 pounds of tomatoes ready to go, and I'll let my wife Eva know, and when she's ready she can go ahead and do a batch of canning. This is a big harvest today. Might have to collect another bowl. Some peppers. I'm just going to measure all the hot peppers together. The cherry bombs really aren't hot peppers, but about 8 ounces of hot peppers. Here's the hot peppers today. About 13 ounces of noodle beans. Okay, I'm done spilling the beans now. I'll weigh these beans in 1 pound increments. That gives us a total of 5 pounds, 9 ounces on the pole beans. Not bad. I know what we're doing tonight. Alright, I'm running out of time here before this storm comes in, so I'm going to hurry up and try and get these grapes trimmed. My goal with this is just to get it so it's easier to mow. Concord grape, still a little green, not bad, a little sour still. Alright, I think I got this side looking pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the video and finish the other side, and I'll be back after that. Well, thank you for visiting my garden today. It's getting ready to rain. I'm starting to feel a couple drops, so I need to hurry up and wrap up and get back inside and start popping beans for the evening.